knows he's done it, and I'm not kidding. If he backs it up, they know he's backed up. If he walks out, he knows he's not sitting there. This is what's planned with these black boxes they're putting in cars increasingly. So everywhere we go is tracked. EU to bug every car in the UK with tracker chips, which they can't stop, this big brother technology. They've got cameras to go into cars that are constantly monitoring your mood so you don't get caught in road rage. FBI will have up to 1/3 of Americans on biometric database by next year. On and on it goes. FBI plans to enlist local cops nationwide in massive DNA collection scheme. And once they have your DNA, they have your unique transmission frequency from that DNA. Surveillance cameras will soon be reading your lips. Lie detection for benefit claimants. Michelle Obama to high school students, monitor your parents for thought crime. Now, all that is to protect us from terrorists. You having a bloody laugh? That is the fast unfolding global police state of Agenda 21 to impose the society where there are less than 1% have total control over everybody else. That's what's unfolding before our eyes. And this is the point. All these dots are connected. It's the same. People say you see a conspiracy. Everywhere I don't, I see one conspiracy with loads of different expressions of itself. They're stealing our kids with more and more excuses to take children from loving parents through secret fricking courts. 10,000 kids a year are now taken from parents in this country. A vast, vast number of them without merit and without reason. Children stolen by the state needlessly, causing utter misery in one of Britain's most disturbing scandals. Absolutely. That family that took that lad from the cancer unit in that notorious bloody Southampton hospital, they were warned that if they didn't stop asking questions about the treatment, which was shite, then they'd have their children taken away, the child taken away rather, till he was 16. This Cinderella law they've introduced is an excuse to take more and more children away from loving parents. Stop the emotional abuse of children. Parents who fail to show love could face prison. This lady, Erin Pitsey, is absolutely right. Why this law against emotional cruelty could turn every parent into a suspect. Who actually decides what that is? The frickin' state does. They're looking for more and more excuses to take children away. Australia government moves to quickly pass laws to sterilize electroshock and restrain children without parental consent. The Obama youth movement and the seizing of American children is happening everywhere. And there's this bloody idiot, batshit crazy, absolutely. Fine parents who don't read to their children, says Ofsted head, and he wants to punish those who miss school events. Richard Day, schools will become the hub of the community, take over control of kids. Licensing parents being considered by politicians and philosophers. And this is what it's leading to. This is what was talked about by Aldous Huxley in Brave New World, creating a situation where parents had nothing ever to do with procreation and children. Natural reproduction has been done away with, and children are created, decanted, and raised in hatcheries and conditioning centers. From birth, people are genetically designed to fit into one of 5 castes, which are further split into plus and minus members and designed to fulfill predetermined positions within the social and economic strata of the world state. And we're seeing that movement, that totalitarian tiptoe towards that. Political correctness, that's not about protecting minorities from abuse. That's about shutting people up so that they can't criticize anything without being accused of something. It's about silencing people's opinions. Big Brother's here now. Big Brother's here now. Are we going to let him stay? No, we frickin' aren't. Now, let's just got to pull this now into deeper in the rabbit hole. The Archon Matrix, perception control. Control the sea and you control the fish. And that's what this is all about. The energetic field, the cosmic internet, is being polluted on an unprecedented scale by electromagnetic information fields technologically generated. It's coming from broadcast towers, mobile phone towers, Wi-Fi, mobile phones, smart meters, all these things. It's absolutely polluting the very energetic sea that we live in with technologically generated, distorted information fields. And there's a reason for this. They are, I put it here, hacking the hack. I'll say what I mean by that in a second. So anything that says smart in front of it is basically designed to talk and communicate with everything else with smart in front of it. It's the big Agenda 21 code word. Smart, smart this, smart that. Smart drugs use microchips to deliver them. Smart meters are there to put an electromagnetic information field into every home and business, which not only can take information from there to a central point, it can deliver information within the frequency band of human brain activity, and it can insert thoughts and perceptions from a distance. That's the idea. Google Nest now talks to washing machines, lights, and even your car. The idea is to create this global grid, which is basically a sub-reality. It's hacking the hack. It's one level from the fake reality. We're now into a technologically generated fake reality, and thus we are even another step, a big step, from connection to infinite awareness. And this is why Google is Wi-Fiing the entire Earth by putting up 180 satellites to put wireless information fields everywhere. It's part of creating this sub-reality, which I'll come to as we go into this final section here. And through entrainment, they can entrain the human organism to tune in, even if they're not in the frequency to start with, and feed them with information and perceptions. These light bulbs, which have and are being by law replacing the ones we had before, are actually shite. Well, most of them are. These are frickin' shite to start with. But it doesn't matter, because that's not what they're there for. They are information transmitters into every home, every business. And that's why they don't just discourage these that have worked perfectly well. They're banning them by law. My flat is full of these frickin' things. I'll have to reincarnate to use most of them, I think. Once I knew they were going to be banned. Hey, target acquired, we've got the bulb. Repeat, we got the bulb. It's madness. But you look at the radiation these things generate and the damage that will do to people and is doing to people. And they've got mercury in them. When they break, mercury is released. And when you look at what the people, the official things say you should do, it's everything but evacuate the frickin' building. So they've got nothing going for them, but it doesn't matter, because they are transmitters of information. In the 70s and 80s, the Russians were transmitting a signal into America. They called it the woodpecker signal because it went rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. And these guys, particularly this guy, Dr. Robert Beck, he studied this woodpecker signal to see how it was working. And this is what he told a Psychotronics Association conference back in 1979. He said that human subjects exposed to certain extremely low frequency waves, which is what we're talking about here, field patterns, reported sensations of uneasiness, depression, and foreboding. He said that he had measured the Russian woodpecker signal and found that it was acting like gangbusters right in the window of human psychoactivity. It was coming in on the frequency of human brain activity. The signal was permeating power grids in the United States. It was being picked up by power lines, re-radiated, and it was coming into homes on the light circuits. Now, it was doing that on light circuits that weren't created for that purpose. These new systems, the smart systems, are created to most efficiently deliver information in that way. When I started saying that, people were saying, that's bloody crazy. Oh, really? Well, now people are getting the internet all over their house through their electrical system. Because electricity is a vehicle for delivering information. And how about this? This very week, from Wi-Fi to Li-Fi. This is a British high-tech startup has invented a light bulb fitting capable of acting as the equivalent of a wireless network in the home. And this is what these smart systems are designed to do. They're sub-realities. They're 24/7 mind control systems. We need to wake up for it. This guy again, Michael Pessinger, said, for the first time in our evolutionary history, we have generated an entire secondary visual, densely complex environment, an electromagnetic soup that essentially overlaps the human nervous system. That's what it's supposed to do, for reasons I'll come to. What they're doing, this archontic force, is they're changing the atmosphere, changing the sources of information that we are receiving, both down here and higher up in the atmosphere, because they are changing our world into their world. And they are like cyborgs, what you would call transhuman. And that's what transhumanism is all about, as I'll come to. They're changing the atmosphere. HAARP can virtually lift part of the atmosphere. You can make it move, do things, one of the creators said. And so what they're doing is they are changing the energy sea into an atmosphere and an information environment which suits them and further represses humans' ability to expand consciousness into the wider awareness. They're filling the atmosphere. This is what Fukushima was about. No way that was a freaking accident if people look at the evidence. Look, this is the smokestack from a small nuclear explosion. This is the smokestack from the explosion at Fukushima. It was created to release phenomenal, staggering amounts of radiation because they're changing the atmosphere. And who created nuclear power? I know for a fact, almost from the horse's mouth, the Rothschilds. So they're changing the atmosphere into the Archon world more and more. Do you know that the technological radiation in our atmosphere now, we're living in, is millions and millions and millions of times what it was 50 years ago. They're also, through that same situation, changing the frequency within this atmosphere, between the ionosphere down to the surface. This is why all these whales and dolphins are beaching themselves. Their radar's changing. They've lost their sense of direction because the way the energy field is changing. They're creating this sub-reality, and it's a technologically generated one, and they want to create this reality technologically between the ionosphere and this surface where we live. And chemtrails are part of that because it is a medium for delivering what they want. So they're hacking the hack and taking us to another level. They're trying to take us to another level distant from awakened infinite consciousness, because you can have that situation, but if you take this technological level further forward, it's even more challenging to access infinite awareness from this reality. People say, why would they destroy their own planet? We're living on a planet as if we had another one to go to. Well, what if this planet don't suit them in terms of its atmosphere and its frequency? And so they're changing it to make it like home. That's what we're frickin' seeing. And this is what transhumanism is all about. Transhumanism is about putting bits of technological kit into your body so you interact with technology. The idea is the technology then becomes your master and it becomes your sense of everything. You become a slave of the technology. I've been talking for years, as people who've gone through these years with me will know, about the microchip agenda, and now they're openly talking about the microchip. This is an electronic tattoo. It's one of the stepping stones to it. New medical microchips to be implanted by 2017, delivering drugs, routine birth control through wireless communications. His choice lost: microchips to administer drugs, replace pills. Microchips will be implanted into healthy people soon as you think. Australian man who has a microchip inserted into his hand so that he can do more with the iPhone 6. Well, I hope he sticks it up his arse, because that's where his brains are. You see, like I said earlier, if you can access what the projected agenda is and nothing intervenes to stop it, you can very accurately predict the future. That's why I've been talking for years about the microchip agenda, and now we're there. Well, I hope now we're there and people can see it. A number of people will also stick their iPhone up their arse and start to open their bloody minds and see what we can do about it. Computer chip modeled after brain architecture. This is all part of taking over the body. Now, as idiots go, this guy is major league. Kevin Warwick, a professor at Reading University, one of the great proponents of the transhumanist agenda. If a machine is passing down signals that keep you completely happy, then why not be part of the matrix? Because I do not have any wish to be a freaking idiot like you, Professor Warwick. Now, I mentioned earlier about Monsanto being the most evil corporation on the planet. It's got big competition. It's got big competition in something called Cuddly Google. This, serving the system since the day we started, and you've seen nothing yet. This is a venomous corporation. What happened is this lady, Regina Duggan, was the director of DARPA. DARPA is so dark, it cannot be seen. It is so dark. There is no light that can show it. It is so dark and it's so sinister. It is the technological development arm of the Pentagon, and it's creating all this transhumanist stuff to control people. And she then made a most amazing career move. She moved from director of DARPA to a top executive of Google. As career moves go, that would seem to be strange unless you know the agenda, because Google is massively part of the transhumanist agenda. They've just bought Boston Dynamics, a DARPA-funded robot corporation. They're big time into robots, and this is what they plan. Bye-bye humans, into the transhuman, where the technology rules, not infinite awareness and consciousness. And they're preparing us for this transhumanist kit, transhumanist shit, through things like Google Glass. Get it part of the body. Get them used to it. Get them used to it. There you go, smartwatch, smartwatch. Get them used to it. Get them used to it. And everybody thinks this is random. I love this story. It said, how Google goggles and Project Glass make Star Trek technology a reality. This stuff comes out as sci-fi when they actually know it's coming. It's part of the introducing of it to us. That's why you see it. This is why we have the Borg, the Archons, the transhumans. That's what they want us to become. My sat-nav said this way: addiction, addiction, addiction to technology. That's the idea. Einstein said, I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. You're no longer a child, a glorious expression of infinite creation. You are a computer terminal on a global mind hack. That's what's unfolding before us. Being pushed by the mainstream media, never offline, modifying mankind. It's great how Apple is invading our bodies. Look at this, freaking computer in the skin. How transhumanist can you get? Wearable technology for the skin. Oh yeah, it's fashion now. At the end of this road, I started out with my iPad, then Google Glass, then my Apple Watch, and onto the microchip, and then next came. And this is what Huxley said: people will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacity to think. And that's what they're for. If you take the human organism into a technological level of control, the ability of that to access that becomes almost unimaginable. That's the idea. I had the vaccines, drugs, GMO, fast food, Wi-Fi, smart meter, smartphone, Google Glass, fluoride and sun cream, and I'm perfectly fine. I don't know what you're going on about. And this is part of the DARPA and almost certainly Google agenda. The idea is to replace human troops with robot troops to keep the masses under control. They're developing them. It's no good saying they're not. They're developing them. There's videos of it. All DARPA stuff. Artificial intelligence could co-pilot future combat jets, Navy official. Exactly. Robots could learn how to herd humans like sheep. Study. That's the idea. Killer robots to be debated at the UN. This is what's going on while Simon Cowell's on the frickin' screen. Introducing Alsight, the slightly scary CCTV network completely run by artificial intelligence. The idea is rule by machine, which brings into focus even more how accurate, and why was it accurate, that Matrix movie, where the Matrix was controlled by machines. Artificial intelligence. What did the Gnostics say about the Archons? They're like cyborgs, a robotic race that can imitate but not innovate. They're turning humans into them. That's what transhumanism is all about. Computer terminal humans is what they're creating. The internet is designed to be a technological collective mind. That's why they're connecting everything to the internet, everything to Wi-Fi, even your fridge, because it's designed to control everything. When you look at the internet, it's just like an electronic universe. It's an information system, and it can deliver information like a reality. And the Gnostics said of the Archons that they were about counter mimicry. They were like counterfeit spirits, they called them, where they could technologically mimic reality. And that's what they're doing with these transhumanist systems and the internet. Saw this movie Transcendence, where Johnny Depp, people haven't seen it, he knew he was dying and they wanted to keep his mind, so they downloaded his mind onto the internet, and the internet became conscious. I'm seeing scientists now saying, could the internet wake up? Who says it hasn't already? And what happened was that he, through his mind, the internet became conscious and then started dictating all these machines and all these gadgets and what happened that were connected to the internet. That's the idea, to create this sub-reality based on technology. Now, what is that but a hive mind, a technological hive mind? Matrix connecting humans to the hive mind. A virtual reality within a virtual reality, the hack within a virtual reality, the original reality. And it's no accident that in that Charney project, this entity in that 5-year period and the 20,000 questions included this point. It was said, humans are more evolved spiritually than the reptiles, but they suppress humans with their technology. Their God is their technology. And that is the world we are seeing unfolding around us every single day. One final point before we have a break. They cannot create this reality because they cannot create from nothing. They have to get us to create it for ourselves. And this is where putting subconscious information, implants into the subconscious is so important. And that's what this is all about. Preemptive programming. When you look at the last, 15 years, there has been movie after movie after movie that has portrayed the very society that these people want to make our society. One after the other. Of course, we have the Hunger Games, but there's Equilibrium, classic one. We have Divergent, we have X-Men Days of Future Past, one after the bloody other off the conveyor belt. And what they're doing is planting that reality into the subconscious to make us familiar with it. So as it unfolds and through our subconscious we help to create it once it's in there, we are not so aghast with it, or some of us are, because we're somehow familiar with it. And the familiarity has been put in to a large extent at the subconscious level by the endless movies and television portrayals of the very society they want to impose. So, before we have a break and then get into raising this frickin' vibe to Beyond the Archons, is it a lost cause? Is it a lost cause? Is it a lost cause? No fricking way. It's a lost cause. It's a lost cause if it went on being unfolded before us while we didn't recognize what it was. We're waking up to it. And we can decode this world and we can decode another world. It's a choice in the creation of our reality that we have the power to intervene on, if only we realize we have that power instead of thinking we're Ethel Jones and Arthur Smith. We can paint another picture and end this shit. We have the power to do it. And we'll get into that after we've had a break for half an hour. Thank you very much. Thank you. Fantastic. Hey. Oh. Oh, God. I got a party mood on now. There you go. Well, I think I was an arthritic 62-year-old, Jay. They told me... They told me when I was 19 that I could be in a wheelchair in my 30s. I said, bollocks to that. I ain't going to be in a wheelchair in 30s because I've got things to do. And so the mind is so powerful. Before I start, because we got a lot of music and stuff and all that business and coming up, and it's all about a vibe thing, this, which I want to talk about first for a little while, but not that long. But a few thank yous. One is to my son, Jamie, who's pulled all this together. He's done a fantastic job over a year. That's me clock, so I don't go over. To Sean Ferris at Hawthorne and the company, they were fantastic who put all the technology together. And thanks to Wembley Arena. I tell you what, Wembley Arena, they're nice people. I love coming here, and they've been great with us as always this year. And thanks to Zachary, who's made a big contribution to pulling out this sequence we're going through here, which we've actually not rehearsed. So it'll be a bit of fun because we have not been able to get together. We've rehearsed some of it, not much. So, skin of the pants and all that stuff, but that's fun, isn't it? Awaken, awaken, awaken. You know, when people talk about solutions, they kind of expect you to map out an organization and a structure and have someone taking the minutes. That's not what it's about. We're in a situation where psychopaths have taken over our reality. And so what's the answer? Well, the answer is we are. We are the answer. And, you know, you can go through the left brain and talk about structure, and he takes the minutes, like I say. But the bottom line is, the difference between the world we live in and the world that we can live in is whether our society is conscious or unconscious, because unconsciousness is going to get us here, so consciousness must take us somewhere else. It's about becoming conscious. Question is, how do you become conscious? Well, you disconnect from the program, and then you automatically are conscious, as I'll come to. But, you know, the theme in whatever culture, whether it's the Gnostics or whatever, they talk about this archontic force envying humans and fearing that they will wake up. And that's why they have to keep us asleep, and they're terrified that we'll wake up. And that's why in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, because the one-eyed man, the suppression has kept humanity, the target population, in a deeper sense of ignorance than it is in. Thus, the one-eyed man is king. So we wake up, and like I said, the three-eyed, two-eyed man, woman, everyone will wake up, and the game will be over. They don't keep us in a state of spiritual, mental, and emotional oppression for a laugh. They do it because it's the only way of controlling us. So getting out of that is fundamental. They are seeking to hijack our perception. We need to take our perception back. You know, when the Native Americans are talking about this choice between one side of us and another side of us, well, that is the world that we have helped to create by falling into its trap. People say, what are the solutions? That's the solution, because everything comes from that. Joy, love, peace, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion. All these things will transform the world, and there's so many people in this world who are already there. But they need to put their heads above the parapet and express that instead of hiding it and hiding away from society. Which one wins decides which society we live in. Thus, it's not about left brain structure. What we need to do in a holographic expression of this changing consciousness will naturally come from the changing consciousness. Changing consciousness is what we need. We've been decoding this reality. We need to decode this reality, and that means changing our consciousness, and that's what we decode. And Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we created them. So, here we are in a perfect example of that. The way we have expressed ourselves through generations and generations, thousands of years of what we call human life, has got us into this situation. And so we need to change that to get out of it. And the difference is being in the program or being conscious beyond the program. It is absolutely that simple. And once we're really conscious beyond the program, there'll be nothing like fear of expressing yourself within the realm of the program. Because some people kind of suss the program, but they've not got so conscious that they've gone above fear so that they can actually express themselves within the program. They've sussed the program, but then they keep their heads down and their mouths shut because they worry about the consequences of challenging the program. That's not in a conscious state. That's a greater awareness state. It's not a conscious state. A conscious state coming from the heart. The heart doesn't do fear. Bollocks to that. Fear, heart. Love doesn't fear. Love has this image of being weak. Oh, he's about love. He'll be doing the washing up next. What's he doing? Well, love is beyond fear. It's beyond time and space, the realm of fear. Thus, it does what it believes to be right, whatever that is and whatever it takes. And when we reach that level, there'll be so many people speaking out and expressing themselves in the program will get absolutely dismantled by people waking up and expressing that awakeness. You know, it is so simple. How do we change the world? We change ourselves. How do we change ourselves? We step out of the program and become the conscious infinity forever that we are. Becoming conscious beyond mind. In this, kind of matrix, they'll never kind of see it, like in the quotes I've been giving about the simulated universe. They'll never see it, the walls. Well, the way through the walls is becoming conscious beyond mind. It's breaking out of thought and going into intuitive knowing, into a state of awareness that is beyond thought. It just knows. You know, we do the body language. It's telling us. We're saying, hold on, I'm thinking. And then we go, look, I just know. Because that's where knowing comes from. And what am I saying? Reversing the inversion. Going from interacting with this reality through the gut and the emotions and starting to interact with it through the heart again. Oh, we can do it. It's a choice. We can do it now. We can do it tonight. We can go on doing it after tonight. It is just a choice. But people often don't make the choice because they think, well, the consequences of making the choice, well, my life will change. Yes, it will. For the better, overwhelmingly, once you start to break out of it. The divine light is always in man, woman, presenting itself to the senses and to the comprehension, but man rejects it. We just have to let it in. You let it in through the heart. This is a wonderful lady, Alice Walker, wonderful lady. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. And that is the greatest dismantling of human power that this archontic force has, is selling the perception that we don't have any. You had the power all along, my dear. We have just forgotten and we're waking up to it. Who do we answer to? David Icke? Do we answer to Ethel Jones or Charlie Smith? Or do we answer to I am infinite awareness, all that is, has been, and ever can be, having an experience of that name? That is the revolution of self-identity, from experience to that which is experiencing. Imprisoned by walls that we build for ourselves, and the system helps us, encourages us to build them. Perception programming. We accept the imposition of belief from other people, whether it's parents or academics. No. Blank sheet of paper. I decide, the I decides what goes on that paper. In other words, what I accept as my reality. I don't care how many letters you've got after your name. I don't care if you're freaking famous. I don't know who you are. I don't care if you're my mother and father who are trying to impose their belief system upon me. I am infinite awareness. I will decide what my belief is and how I perceive reality. And that, again, breaks out of this program of responding to how others tell us we should be. And we've got to kind of realize that there will be resistance to that. People who go, oh, yeah, what about you, when you start to resist the program. But it doesn't matter, because if they can't respect our right to be us, well, what we bother in being around them anyway for? It's about dropping the actor's mask or realizing what the mask is, that it's just an experience. It's just a point of attention within infinite reality. And when we leave this body, we'll move our point of attention. And we are doing that infinitely forever. That's as bad as it freaking gets. And if we go on accepting the program, go on accepting externally implanted beliefs, then we're just pawns in the program, pawns in the game, and we've given our power away. What are we doing as infinite reality? Having our belief systems externally imposed. We have infinite reality, infinite possibility, infinite potential to choose from and manifest. Why are we having people tell us what we are and what we should be? When we choose not to do that, when we choose not to fall into the program, then
we start to make a positive difference in the world, because by disconnecting from the program, we are taking its power away one by one by one. And when we get caught in emotion, that's what we're supposed to do in our Viking challenge, overcoming emotional impulses. You know, I know that as much as anybody. But when we get caught in these emotion programs running through the body, and what's interesting is when near-death experiencers describe their experiences, invariably they say, when I left the body, there was no emotion. It wasn't your emotion lust. Human emotion wasn't there anymore. It's a program, or this low vibrational human response, because that's the energy that they wish to generate for reasons we've discussed, and thus they have put programs through the operating system which generate that energy. But infinite consciousness can overwhelm and overpower that if we come through the heart, because the heart doesn't do that kind of emotion, this does. And once we fall for the emotion trap, we're not in the now. Because when we're worried about the future, we're pulled into a future that actually doesn't exist. We're pulled into a place where we can't do anything. We are powerless because you can't change something that doesn't exist. And when we have regrets, emotional regrets about the past, we're pulled into the past that doesn't actually exist. We're pulled out of the now, which is the one moment where we can change everything. So pulling out of the regrets and the future, I mean, I am not what has happened to me. That is an experience that we have had to this point. And it's brought us to this point. And some of the things we haven't liked have been good for us, because it's given us experiences that have helped us to become more understanding of everything. But I am not what has happened to me. I am where I am now. And at any point in the now, we can make a new start. And whatever has happened in the past, however bad it was, however we regret it, however we don't like it, we can start anew now anytime we choose and build a different world, a different reality, a different human experience for ourselves. We have the power to do that as long as we don't fall for the program that pulls us into the past and the future. I am not what I choose to, I am what I choose to be now. And tonight, anytime, we can choose to be something different. Oh, well, you weren't like that before. No, but that was another now. This is this now. I am now. And Leonardo da Vinci said, one can have no smaller or greater mastery other than mastery of oneself. This is the revolution. Mastery of oneself that takes us out of the program and ceases to have us being a computer terminal on someone else's matrix. And what we do is we don't accept externally downloaded perceptions of reality. We choose our own on our terms. Socrates said, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old or fighting anything, but on building the new. And this revolution is about building the new. And by building the new, by the very definition of doing that, you're challenging the old by definition. You're replacing it with something else instead of fighting it and becoming an expression of what you're fighting. What you fight, you become. Remember who you are. That is the revolution. And having the initial courage, but you soon get past that and the need for it, to express who you are, no matter what people say about you, do about you. Because if we give away our right to be us because of what the program is doing to us, well, we might as well not even start. Can you remember who you were before the world told you what you should be? That's a starting point. Let's now, from this point, start to be who we are and not what the world is telling us we should be. People think that oneness People think that what we call oneness is like everyone's the same. That's the opposite. Oneness is the oneness of all possibility. So to express the diversity and the differences and the uniqueness of infinite points of attention is to celebrate oneness, to celebrate being part of all possibility. The opposite of that is the system in which you do invariably turn out people just the same because they're operating on such a narrow band of possibility. Expressing your uniqueness and being aware of oneness is not a contradiction because it's an expression of each other. This near-death experiencer said, I detach myself from preconceived outcomes. That's a killer, that. Because once you have a preconceived outcome, this is what I want the outcome to be, and you're not kind of fluid, well, we'll go and see where it goes. Then if that outcome doesn't happen, then you consider it a failure, you consider that it's not happened, and you consider life's terrible. And yet, if you just flowed with it, well, that possibility might manifest, a better one might manifest in somewhere else. So preconceived idea is such a trap, such a prison. Preconceived outcomes. And trust that all is well. Being myself allows the wholeness of my unique magnificence to draw me in those directions most beneficial to me and to all others. This is really the only thing I have to do. And within that framework, everything that is truly mine comes into my life effortlessly, in the most magical and unexpected ways imaginable, demonstrating every day the power and love of who I truly am. One of the kind of experiences and the common themes through my life in the last 25 years, if it's easy and it flows, go with it. If there's blocks all over the place, go somewhere else. Because what that quote said, it's effortless once you get into the vibe, once you get into the flow of the self. Instead of having the mind have preconceived outcomes, so you're pushing against doors that will never open, getting more and more frustrated, when if you went in with the heart and just flowed with it, amazing things would unfold. Life becomes an adventure. Remember who you are by forgetting what they told you to be. If we look through our lives, how many bloody people have told us what we should be, what we should think, what we should do, how we should respond. Enough of this stuff. We decide what happens in our lives. We decide what we believe. That's what freedom is. It's not freedom to have imposed external beliefs. It's freedom from external imposed beliefs. We are one. We are expressions of an infinite awareness. If you don't become the sea or the ocean, you'll be seasick all your life. And when you open your heart and you open your mind to sync with the heart, then you start to interact with the sea. That sea of infinite knowledge, awareness, that sea of infinite intuitive knowing, where without looking in any academic direction, you just know. You just know. You just know what's right. You just know where you have to be tomorrow because this is telling you, and you follow it, and suddenly amazing things happen because you followed it. Where if you followed the head, oh, can't go there, that's silly, you will not have those amazing experiences because you've cut them off. This is Ibn Alexander from his near-death experience, in which he said, to experience thinking outside the brain is to enter a world of instantaneous connections that make ordinary thinking, those aspects limited by the physical brain and the speed of light, seem like some hopelessly asleep or sleepy and plodding event. Our truest, deepest self is completely free. It is not crippled or compromised by past actions or concerned with identity or status. It comprehends that it has no need to fear the earthly world, and therefore it has no need to build itself up through fame or wealth or conquest. The revolution is to take that awareness of self and bring it into the program. And with that, the program will dissolve in the sight and the power of that energetic change that it will undergo as a result of that energetic transformation that we bring. Here's another near-death experience. So I have never interviewed anyone who had a near-death experience who told me that they came back to make more money or to spend more time at their jobs away from their families. Instead, they became convinced that they need to be more loving and kind. They react to their experience by living life to its fullest.
They believe their lives have a purpose, even if that purpose is obscure to them. Invariably, it involves concepts such as love of family, service to others. They seem to know that the love they create while living will be reflected and radiated back to them when they die or when they change their point of observation. It's that awareness, that heart-centered awareness beyond the program, beyond body-mind, that we need to connect with, we need to become part of, because it's the true self anyway, and bring that in an expression in the way we live our lives into this program. That will dissolve the program and start to manifest that reality here. That's all it is. We don't need minutes and committees. I don't even really need vast protests. We need to transform the reality by becoming another reality and expressing that reality within this one. This reality will not survive that energetic onslaught of the natural order, of truth, of love, of peace. It won't. And it depends on us not doing that. A Jim Morrison quote, the most important freedom is to be who you really are. You trade your reality for a role. You trade your sense for an act. You give up your ability to feel. In exchange, you put on a mask. There can't be any large-scale revolution until there is a personal revolution on an individual level. It has got to happen inside first. That is the revolution. It's so simple. We want a world of love and peace, then we have to be loving and peaceful with each other as well as those we don't like. That's it. That's it. It's rejecting the program and rejecting the impulses to follow the program and expressing our freedom, living what we want this world to be, and collectively we will be the world that we want it to be. It's that simple. It's about, as this quote says, breaking down all the pretenses, all the lies that we've been fed, rejecting them, coming to our own conclusions through the heart. This great quote from Osho, the awakened man and woman. People are afraid, very much afraid of those who know themselves. They have a certain power, a certain aura. Why? Because they're accessing high-frequency, vibrational energy awareness information. They have a certain power, a certain aura, a certain magnetism, a charisma that can take out alive young people from their traditional imprisonment. The awakened man or woman cannot be enslaved. That is the difficulty, and he cannot be imprisoned. The awakened man is the greatest stranger in the world. He does not seem to belong to anybody. No organization confines him, no community, no society, no nation. That is the revolution. The revolution of freedom, of being our unique self without permission from anybody. Who's got to give me permission to be me? I don't need it, thank you. I am what I am, I shall express it. I am me, I am free. And this was, this lady, brilliant quote, you cannot stand fully in the truth of your being as long as you continue to demand acceptance, approval, and validation from people outside of yourself. Be willing to piss people off if it means standing up for your truth of who you are. They told me 25 years ago, you're finished. No way out of this, no way back from here. It's all over. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? It's over. You can't go any further after all that frickin' ridicule. Watch me. Watch me. That's the power we have. We don't have to compare ourselves with other people. We are our unique self. We have nothing to compare with. He's got more money. He's got that. He's more famous. Who gives a shit? I am my unique self. It doesn't matter. As long as I express my unique self, I am in my power. I don't need to be anyone else. I am me. I am unique. I am a unique point of attention within an infinite reality. We all are, but we forget that. As Jiddu Krishnamurti said, we are always comparing what we are with what we should be. We are what we are. Let's express what we are, celebrate what we are. And then the uniqueness, the spontaneity of expressing uniqueness will break the program, which is about suppression of uniqueness and oppression and conformity. We are the revolution if we cease to conform with traditional, programmed, this is how you do it, reality. If you only stay in that area of expression where you are within the program, how can anything move forward? You're going round and round. All the great changes of society and changes of anything, the great visionaries, all of them, have been ones that have walked out of the program and taking the shit for doing so. Because out of the program is the only way you're going to push on in terms of understanding what life is about, who we are, and where we're coming from. The greatest fear in the world is the opinions of others, and the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion, and a great roar rises from your heart. The roar of freedom, of being you, and not someone else's version of you. Come out of the masses, stand alone like a lion, and live your truth according to your own light, not someone else's version of it. Expressing our uniqueness is a revolution that will change everything, because the program depends on that not happening. It is better to live one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep. What's the point? Doing what is right, no matter what you are told, is the spirit of change. Because if you don't do that, you're just operating within the circle and nothing changes. You have to step out of the circle and do what you believe to be right rather than what you are told to do, to break out of the program, out of the circle, and thus move society forward. Do what is right, not what is easy. What a bore doing what is freaking easy all the time. It's easy on one level, though, not with opening up to consciousness, to actually stay with your head down. Oh yeah, I'll just conform. But if you want to express beyond the program, then we have to do things that sometimes we find challenging, like speaking our truth in a world that doesn't want to hear. It's just freaking smoke. Leaving the herd, that's the revolution, because the herd is the program. So if we leave the herd, we leave the program. Oh, it's so simple, expressing our uniqueness. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That's how you change the world. That's how you change the world. It's the only way. One who follows the crowd can go no further than the crowd. What is that saying? One who follows the program can go no further than the program. And you stay in the matrix. Those who walk alone are likely to find themselves in places that no one has gone before. And it's those that have gone there and brought that back, brought that awareness back, that have, through what we call human history, changed everything. And the only things that have changed everything. The first step to change is decide that where you are is not an option, and then go for it. Go for it. Not sitting around, well, what are the, jump! And you find you can fly. Doesn't mean there ain't challenges, but my God, you find your life changes, and it becomes the adventure and not the chore, not the round and round the garden. It takes nothing to join the crowd. It takes everything to stand alone. And it's those who stand alone that change everything, because those that stand alone are outside the program. As I said right at the start of the day, today's mighty oak is just yesterday's nut that held its ground long enough for perception to move and see that it wasn't a nut all along. Small minds cannot comprehend great spirits. To be great, you have to be willing to be mocked, hated, and misunderstood. And you need to stay strong,
because otherwise you get pulled back in the program. What a great quote this is from Bob Marley. And I tell you what, even in recent times, I've freaking learned this one. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. It's amazing what strength we can manifest when the situation demands it. Where in our minds, when we're thinking about it, we think, I don't have that strength. And then suddenly when it comes to it, you do. It's taking responsibility, because what we don't face, we cannot change. This is why the New Age is, oh, it's negative. They'll never change a freaking thing. Never change a thing. They're just in denial. They're just in escapism. You need to face what we need to face, and then we can change it. I can't see nothing wrong. Everything seems fine. Escapism. It's your road and it's yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. We're all unique. Destination is a choice. Give up, give in, or give it all you've got and refuse to give in. And we're entering we're in these challenging times where we need the power of the heart that won't give in, that won't take a step back because things are happening that make it fearful. This doesn't do fear. The heart is the ultimate power. It won't stand back. It will stand up to what it believes to be right, no matter what the situation is. And that's what we need. Persistence. This great quote here. Now that we've exhausted all possibilities, let's get frickin' started. Persistence. If you have the power of the heart and the persistence of keeping with the power of the heart, no matter what we face, we can change anything. Together, we can change everything. The person who said it can't be done should not interrupt the person doing it. People say, there's nothing you can do about this conspiracy. The conspiracy depends on us believing there's nothing we can do about the conspiracy. Bollocks to that. The conspiracy is coming down. It's in the process of coming down. It may not seem like it, but my God, the cracks in the dam are becoming more and more obvious. There's a phenomenal wake-up going on around the world. Leonardo da Vinci, it's long come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to